Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. We're back on Fuel Your Legacy, and today we're doing a book review. Man, book reviews are my favorite because they really help me grow every time. So this is about a book a week that I'm reading right now, and it is crazy to think that you can take in that much information. A lot of these books, they're 7, 8, 9 hours long and just packed full of golden nuggets. No book that I've ever read is a one-time read. I've never read a one-time read book, and primarily because I'm changing. And so every time that I change, I need to go back and listen to that book because it gives me a view of fresh eyes and helps me relearn some things that I've known before. So it's a good reminder, but also it helps me identify kind of the next step, because a lot of these books, they're written at such a much higher level than most people are, or they can have application at a higher level than most people are operating. And so when we apply them to our lives at the lower level of operation, which is where I'm at, okay, so I'm not claiming any status here. I'm kind of entry level here. Then moving forward, I can go back and read a lot of these books and continually learn. Now, this book by Rachel Hollis is called Girl, Stop Apologizing. This book is absolutely incredible, okay? It's very much written towards a female audience, but it's extremely helpful for a man to read because a lot of times women, they talk amongst themselves. They will communicate amongst themselves about their struggles, about their stresses, about the things that just they're struggling with. And oftentimes we're like, well, I don't understand that. And that's because it's coming through a different filter. A lot of these women, when they come to talk to us as men or husband or brother or some father, some form like that, then it's coming through a different lens. It's coming through a lens of they're trying to explain to a man how they feel. And so they're going to explain it differently than they're going to explain it to a woman. Well, Rachel Hollis has a very unique skill. And I love this about this whole book and her previous one, Girl, Wash Your Face, is that she's able to communicate and really establish a lot of rapport with the women and with that demographic of people, and at the same time explain things in a way that helps men really understand in a deeper way the struggles, the emotional stress, the emotional low confidence, low self-esteem type stories that women are telling themselves, and giving you good feedback on how to interact and how to help assist other people. And this goes for men and women, right? Other people to build self-esteem in themselves without being a fixer, okay? Your job is not to fix women. It's not to fix men. It's not to fix anybody but yourself. And that's what I love about the book, is it's so self-centric, right? It's helping you look inside yourself. A lot of these concerns that are being voiced from a female perspective, I was sitting there like, man, I felt like that before. I know exactly what she's talking about. I've been in that situation where somebody said something and I internalized it rather than letting it roll off. I've been in this situation. I've been the protagonist. I've been the person who said something that was that ignorant and just not helpful. How can I change that? How can I adjust? Right? It was such a helpful book. I'm super excited for everybody to go out and read it, get it, and almost I would say live by it, okay? Because it is fantastic. Now, when it comes to mindset, now this is one thing that specifically I think applies to, well, it's not specific. It applies to anybody who is living their life to the beat of somebody else's drum. And I would say 90% of you, I'm talking directly to you, okay? Because here's the thing. We grow up, we come into this world as a baby, perfect baby with no preconceptions about what this life is or what it's going to be. And then as we grow, we get trained by other people how to act, how to behave, what to think, how to talk, what language to speak, right? We get trained by all these people on how to actually become a full-grown human that's functional in society, whatever the heck that means, right? And when you think about it, all of that is somebody else's opinions. Most people are zombies. They're just walking through life living somebody else's perceived expectations of what they think somebody wants them to do, right? Oftentimes, it's not even a stated expectation. It's like a perceived expectation. It's not even truth. It's never been validated. Nobody has actually come up and said, your eyebrows look horrendous today. Your makeup sucks. Your hair's a mess, right? You're way overweight. Very few people are ever going to say that to you. But you may think that they're saying that to you. When they comment on somebody else's situation, on how good it is or how bad it is, then you might self-impose that somebody's indirectly talking about you. That is a self-inflicted opinion of yourself. Okay, that's not anybody else's opinion of you. That's your opinion of you, and it's your opinion. What's worse is it's your opinion of what somebody else's opinion is of you. Right? It's just it's this round robin cycle of just a bunch of unsubstantiated claims, and there's no way that we can operate our lives that way and be who we really are to our core. And so this book, Girl Stop Apologizing, really goes into how do we just live in fulfillment, live our true lives, our true selves, and really, like, I imagine this like a little rosebud, okay? I love rosebud because when they first come in, they're like a rock, man. Those things are so hard. They're bundled up super, super tight, and they're not going anywhere. But as they grow, they actually will expand, and then you get to finally see the heart of the roses. And without the heart of a rose, it would be kind of nothing, right? Without a center, with all the stuff surrounding it, it would probably, in my opinion, it's not that pretty. I've seen flowers like that. They're not that pretty. I love seeing the center of the flower. That's where all the pollen is. That's where the yellow part, that's where the accent of these beautiful flowers is. This is what makes, it draws the contrast of these things. And so our goal is to really let that seed that started as a seed come out of us and in full bloom show who we truly are. It doesn't mean that we're sacrificing all these other aspects of ourselves. Some of them we just need to change or quit doing or stop associating with people. Some of them, a lot of those, they're still core of who you are that is being expressed in different areas, right? Some people, they just want to be the best potter in the world, right? That's a skill that they have. It's something they've developed, and they just want to be the best potter in the world. I was watching America's Got Talent, though, to this point, and America's Got Talent, this last week, there was a lawyer on the show, and she is a comedian. But what happened was she went to school, beating to the drum of her mom. She's like, oh, went to school, got this lawyer degree, did all these things, started practicing, and she's like, I hate this, man. I'm miserable doing this. And so she quit her job. She's not making near as much money, and she went to follow her dream and passion of being a comedian. Right? And how many of you are willing to go do something like that, where you're willing to say, okay, yes, I have all this training. Yes, there's this idea of this sunk cost mentality. This, again, we talked about this on Monday, the fear and scarcity aspect, right? The idea that I put in all this work and now I'm going to lose something if I pull out now. No, you put in all that work to identify something you don't like. That's fantastic. Now we can go find something that you do like. You now know one thing that you don't like. Let's go find something you do like. Let's identify the passion, okay? And so love and abundance would suggest that you're moving forward in things that you are fully engaged in, and you're not going to listen to what anybody else thinks of you. And so you have to get to the point where you can say, okay, what am I seeking? Am I seeking other people's opinions and approval, or am I going to them for wisdom, counsel, and advice? Okay, they're very different, and you have to be able to separate those in your own mind, whether that's coming from a spouse, a child, a parent, a religious authority. It doesn't matter where that is coming from. You've got to say, okay, that's a great opinion of yours. I'm not interested in opinions. I'm interested in advice. Opinions, they're emotionally motivated. They're emotionally trying to get you to do something or manipulative. And advice is when somebody says, okay, well, this is what I would do. Okay, in that situation, this is what I would do. You can say, well, that's interesting. You're not me. That's not how I want to operate my life. But that's all these principles. They're so crucial when it comes to your financial mindset, because a lot of people, they're not doing what they love doing because they're scared that they can't make money at it, or they're scared that they're going to be successful, which I think is a greater fear. They're scared that they're going to outshine their spouse, that they're going to not going to want to be a mom the way they should be based on what they think other people think of them, right? It's just the laughing stock of a joke that you care about somebody else's opinions. Okay, the one single thing that I have accomplished in my life that I would say I'm pretty good at, and you can ask anybody that that knows me well, and I'm 95% positive that they would substantiate this claim, that I don't give a crap what anybody else thinks about me. Like, I do my own thing all the time, no matter what somebody else thinks. And I love that about me. And sometimes it's frustrating because people are like, why don't you listen to me, Sam? Why don't you care about this? Why don't you care about this? Because I just don't care, right? If you can communicate to me why it is in my best interest to care, then I'll consider it. I'm at that point, you're just getting to the level of consideration. You're not even getting to the level of convincing or me changing. You're getting to the level of me considering that you might have something there. But I really am so focused in on what I believe is going to help me achieve the greatest amount of success in all areas of my life, my faith, my family, my fitness, my finance, that I'm not I don't care what people think, right? And I wish with all my being that you can get that confident inside of yourself that you don't care what other people think. Look, if you want to go buy a big house, go buy a big house, right? It may not be the best financial decision, but if that's the case, go make more money, right? Don't live in fear that you can't do it. Go figure out how it can be possible. Ask yourself, how could I do this? Not, I can't do this, or why I shouldn't be able to do this. Ask yourself, how, if I were to do this, how could I do this? I was listening to a audiobook, I forget what it was, or maybe it was a podcast, and I love this. This guy quit smoking by just changing his identity, and he said, look, every time he was tempted to smoke, rather than saying, oh, I really would like to smoke right now, but I'm going to not do it, I'm going to have willpower, he said, if I was a smoker, then I would probably smoke right now, right? He changed who his identity was. He said, well, if I was a smoker, but I'm not, so I don't need to smoke. But if I was, I definitely smoke right now, right? That's how we have to operate our lives. If I want this, what do I need to do to get it? How can I accomplish that? If I was someone who lived in a big house, I would live my life this way. I'd earn this type of money. I would do this, and then just go do that, right? And that phrase can be working both ways. It can work against you or for you, and you get to choose how that's going to work, right? If you were somebody who lived in poverty, this is how you'd operate. But since you're not, you're going to choose something different. Find a mentor, a mentee, somebody who you look up to that you can always base your decisions off of. From a religious perspective, myself uses Christ, right? So I say, okay, is this way that I'm acting right now, or these actions that I'm performing, are they consistent with the way Christ would act? What would Jesus do, right? We've all heard that phrase. And then we ask ourselves that. Well, financially, we have to ask ourselves that question too, because you might be at the grocery store and thinking, man, I really want that ice cream. I really want the Greek yogurt. I really want the super expensive cut of meat. I really want whatever. And you have to ask yourself, okay, if I was somebody who was fiscally responsible, somebody who managed money well, what would I do? What would that person do? What would my rich grandpa do? What would these people do? Now, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. I'm not saying always do it. Find out what's working for you. But you got to ask yourself these financial questions. If I was somebody who had $1 million, or was the millionaire who lived next door, how would he act, right? If you don't know, go get the book and find out how he would act, and then start acting in accordance with those decisions. But that's really where it comes down to. From the financial mindset, you have to shift your mind from like the way you're currently operating to, okay, well, if I was this high level player, if I was Tony Robbins, if I was Bill Gates, if I was Warren Buffett, if I was this, what choices would I be making financially? And then make your decisions based on that. Don't do what Dave Ramsey tells you to do. Say, okay, if I was Dave Ramsey, what would I be doing? Right? Those are two very, very different questions. And I think they're important to ask, right? Not, hey, well, if I was somebody who listened to this person, what would I do? That's a different question than if I was this person, what would I do? Do you see the difference? And you really need to, I would say, I invite you to internalize that question, right? Because it has the potential to change your life if you allow it to. If you don't, it will do nothing for you. It's a pointless question and a waste of everybody's time. So just focus on that. But that's the money mindset. When we get into and in the book review, in the book, Girl Stop Apologizing, she spends a lot of time on this, and then she gives you a bunch of excuses. She goes through all of the excuses that you might have, and she just blows them out of the water. Then she gives you some skills and habits that you can begin doing that are going to increase your ability to win at the highest level, and what she did. See, her story, Rachel Hollis' story, is that she was running a very successful business, $100,000+ business as a stay-at-home mom, and she doesn't like being a mom. So in the book, she says, from when her oldest child was 3 months old, they had a nanny, either part-time or full-time, right? So she's had a nanny. They have a personal chef. They have all these things to support the life that she actually wants to live. She doesn't help out at her kid's school or at the sign up for PTA or anything like that. She just doesn't do that because that's not what she enjoys doing. And she doesn't care what other people think, which is just incredible. But you have to think about, okay, well, if that's the case, if that's what we're moving towards, if that's what we're working towards, how can I implement that in my life? Maybe right now you don't have enough money to buy, that sounds terrible, to pay a nanny. Okay. So what are your options, right? What other things can you do? Well, this whole time that she's offloading a lot of these responsibilities, she's building a business that's bringing in $100,000 a year. She's either making close to or more than her husband. And anytime anybody asked about it, she would just say, oh, it's some little thing that I'm doing, right? She would downplay it because she was embarrassed or scared of what other people thought. And people who have a strong money mindset and understand the value that they're adding, they don't care what other people think. I promise you, they don't care what other people think. And to that same tune, I invite you to listen to this and say, Sam, I don't care what you think. And this, and this, I disagree with you on. Perfect. Identify what you believe. I don't care what you believe. I'm just sharing my thoughts and the thoughts of other people who have become, in my mind, successful in life, not because of their financial status, but because of the way they've constructed their life and their commitment to their inner self, right? Success for me is not a number of money. It's not a number of business partners. It's not a size of a company. It's not an annual revenue. It's not a size of a family. Success to me is, am I living in integrity with myself, and am I consistent with the way I profess to live my life? That's success. And it's up to you to identify what that can be. But for me, that's how I define success. And how do you define success? And what are you doing daily to reach that success? So anyways, this whole book, there's no way I could summarize the whole thing, but it is just eye-opening, life-changing. I can't say enough good things about it. I would definitely go get a copy of it and probably read it and then share it amongst your friends so you guys can all discuss it together. There will be a post on my Fuel Your Legacy reading Facebook page or Facebook group with this book. I'd love to hear your thoughts as you read it and as you get something out of it. Let's go talk about it. Let's find out what it is. I love the idea of a book club where we can all learn together. I know there's stuff in there that I completely missed that you might really get something out of. I'd love to hear what that is because I need to learn and grow every day. And so I love when you guys help me have that opportunity of learning and growing. Again, Friday, we're going to have Connie Atkinson on here talking about how she was able to impact her family and officiate and change and assist the conversation of financial mindset and encourage those healthy financial habits in her children. She draws a little contrast between her and a friend who both started the same place and ended up differently from a financial perspective. And there's a lot of great things going to happen this week. I'm super, super pumped for it really just to bring these people to you because they always brighten my day and I love what they do. And then Friday and Saturday, again, I'm going to be speaking at the Sustainable Wealth Workshop in Sandy, Utah, right there at the Hyatt House by the Mountain America Hale Center Theater. If you'd like tickets, I can get you some tickets for $97 a piece for each ticket. That'll cover both days. It's going to be life-changing. I'm super excited. I'm like getting giddy about the idea of going and learning more about how to really make it in real estate. Traditionally, it's not my favorite investment, as in I don't like being involved in it. Because I'm lazy and I've done property management for 5 years and I hated property management. But does that mean I won't give somebody my money to go invest in real estate? No, absolutely. I will do that because I see the value in it. It's just not an area that I want to become an expert in, but I'm going because I want to learn more about it. Because even though I'm not going to be an expert, I still want to know enough about it that I know what my money's doing. And I think that that's a good advice for anybody who is thinking about putting their money somewhere long-term. Really identify how is my money growing here? What are the factors? How does it happen? Even the bank, right? Or under your mattress. Like if I put my money under my mattress, what's happening to it, right? Go study that. I mean, go study inflation and teach yourself about like what's really happening with your money. It might be surprising. And same with the bank. Go find out how much money the bank loans out to people and then how much interest they're earning on their loans versus how much they're paying your little bank account, okay? Like these things are good things to know. And so it doesn't matter where you're putting your money, find out how that asset that you're putting your money into, how it grows, how it shifts, how it loses value, whatever, so that you can understand where your money's at. It's so important to have clarity and understanding around this topic. It's the one thing that everybody uses and nobody's taught about, or very few people. My clients love me because I teach them about it. But go and check that out, and then we'll catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.